everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I am so excited to have you here today. Before we get started, be sure you subscribe, that way you don't miss out on any of the fun crafty content we have coming. Now today's video is inspired by a reel that I posted over on my Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I had so many of you ask me how I made these adorable cutie stickers and they're holographic that I thought I would give you guys a quick bonus video on how I created these because I just used a Design Space little project and did some changes to it and made it my own. Now I'm going to link below a direct link to my profile over on Cricut because you can just access these and print them out and make them yourself. But I'm going to show you how I did it so that you guys learn some tips and tricks on how to do the same thing if you find a project that you want to do something like this with and how to set that up. So let's go ahead and get started.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
We're going to make this really cute set of Cricut cutie stickers. Now, if you go to my Cricut profile, you can find these and just print them out without doing any work. But a lot of you wanted to know how to make them, so I'm going to show you because it is pretty simple. So what I did was I actually took this cutie banner here and I modified it. So I'm going to choose this item and what I want to do is click customize on it. And then what I'm going to do is kind of change some things up. So the colors of the Cricut cuties are definitely not the colors that I want to use for this. So you'll see here that everything kind of is grouped. We have a lot of layers. What I first want to do is see all these black lines. These are like the back of the banner part. We don't need those to make our stickers. So I'm just going to select them all and delete them. That's our first step, is just get rid of those. Then what I'm going to do is start over here at the beginning, and I know that he's purple, but I want to change his color. So I'm going to select him and we're just going to do a rainbow. So all I did was I chose red, and you want to make sure that you grab his arms as well because they're two separate pieces. So it can be a little bit confusing the way they've created these. Then I'm going to select our little maroon guy. And like I said, I'm just doing the rainbow. So I want to do orange next. And now, granted, I accidentally selected just the whole design and not just his body. So if you do that, just click undo. It's okay. And instead, what you want to do is select his body. Now, you can hit shift and select his body and his arms so you can change his color all at once. I'm going to do that with all of my pieces. Again, just kind of going down the rainbow. So now we need to go to, because it's Roy G. Biv, as we all know. So our next little guy is yellow. And then we have our peach guy, and he's going to be green. And I want to make sure that I select him and his arms. So we're going to make him green. And then we just scroll over. And this little green guy is going to be blue. And you can, again, make them any colors that you want. These are just the colors that I chose. And then this little guy, you can make him purple, pink, whatever color you want to make him. I'm going to make him a little bit darker purple because I don't think that purple really works with kind of the colors of our rainbow. Now, if you want to add a pink guy, you absolutely can. Just simply select one of your cuties and duplicate him by using the duplicate button up here at the top. I'm going to slide him over just so he's kind of in line with the other guys. And I want to just change him and we'll make him pink. Now, there's not really a pink that I like on the screen. I don't really love that shade to go with the rest of them. So what I'm going to do is go to advanced and I'm going to choose a different shade of pink by coming over here. And I'm just going to find a pink that works a little bit more like into the bright pink. Like that. I think that's a good pink. So the advanced button is a really great option if you're trying to make colors. The next thing that we need to do is take each individual cutie and flatten him. That's going to tell Design Space that it's going to be one piece and that we're printing then cutting it. So make sure you select each one, and you don't want to flatten everybody together. You want to flatten one at a time. So I'm just going to go through and flatten each of my cuties, and you can see all I'm doing is just dragging a box around them. And it selects all their parts, and then I just click flatten. And now you can see that we have all these different, just single layers of a cutie. It's much easier. I have one guy that I missed with flattening, so I'm just going to select his group and flatten him. Now, I'm sure you guys can hear the weird noises in the background. That is my cat. She is ill, so just ignore those. I'm sorry if the microphone's picking them up. I don't have the heart to kick her out of the room because she is not feeling well. Now with my stickers, I added a little Cricut machine to them. So all I simply did, and this was super easy, was I went into images and all I did was search the word Cricut. Now you're going to get a bunch of stuff that comes up, but I did have to scroll a little bit to find the machines that I wanted to use. But you can see they have a bunch of different styles, so you can use whatever you want, or you don't need to use the machines. It's truly up to you. But I did scroll down quite a bit to find the style that I was hoping to find. And we are going to add an offset to them to make them match the cuties a little bit better. So I'm just going to scroll until I find the ones that I wanted to use, which, like I said, I know I had to scroll for quite a while on here. These are the two that I chose. So I'm going to go ahead and select both of those items and add them to the canvas. Now I did, again, do some color changing to them because they didn't really mesh with my cuties. So what I want to do is I'm going to select the Explore Machine pieces that are pink. There should be 2 of them, and I'm just going to change the color of them to something that like maybe meshes a little bit better with the color scheme of my design. I'm going to do the same with the Explore Machine and choose a color that's a little bit more onto the color palette of what I'm working with. Once I'm happy with that, select your machine and you're going to flatten it. You're going to do that to both machines, and the next thing you want to do is add a little offset. So I'm going to add my offset by choosing offset, and the 0.25 is way too big. I'm going to go with like 0.1 and see how that looks. I still think that's a little thicker than I want, so let's try 0.08. That's a little bit better. I'm going to click apply. I want to select the Print Then Cut Explore, and I want to select my new offset, and all I want to do is choose flatten. What that does is it tells Design Space again that this is all just one piece. I want to do the same thing to the maker, so I'm going to offset it. It's going to save the same offset size. Click apply. Then you want to grab the offset and your Print Then Cut option here, your flattened maker, and you want to flatten that as well. Again, that just tells Design Space that it's all one piece and we're print then cutting them. I am really sorry if it sounds like Darth Vader's behind me. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to open up a shape, and I'm going to use this as a template for my Print Then Cut area. I love doing this because it gives you more option as to the size of your Print Then Cut and how you want it to look. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock my square, and I want to make it 6.75 wide by 9.25 high. I'm going to go ahead and right click on that and send it to the back. Now from here, we want to size our cuties so that they all fit on to the page. So what I do is I will typically choose just one cutie, and I will kind of figure out about how big I can make him so that he fits within my printable area and I can still fit more guys next to him. Now we can resize in a minute once we figure that out. But I know that he is 1.97 inches wide, so all I need to do is just change everybody to 1.97 inches, and they're going to measure just about the same as he is. They might be a little different, but they won't be so different that it's going to make a huge difference. So I'm going to go ahead and just change all of them to 1.97 wide, and I'm just going to fit them all onto the page. Now again, like I said, we'll resize here in just a second because I'm sure that we can make them a little bit bigger. I don't remember the exact size that they are on the other sheet. Now I got to grab the other dudes from all the way over here and drag them over. So let me grab them and pull them on over so that we can actually get to them. And we're just going to do 1.97, and we'll just kind of line them all up. And like I said, we'll probably expand them, make them a little bit bigger. But this is just the easiest way to kind of get everything sized to fit. And if you want like a pretty uniform size of all of your little cuties, this is the best way to do it. So I'm going to just make him 1.97. And then from here, obviously we can definitely make these bigger, but don't worry, we'll mess with that in a second. I want to size my Cricut machines down so that they fit into my printable area. Now I don't want them to be too much bigger than like this section of my cuties because I obviously want to resize the whole design. So I'm just going to size these down a bit. Oops, and not grab him, but you want to leave a little space between your stickers. It doesn't have to be a lot. So now that I kind of see that, yes, they'll all fit, I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. We don't need him. I'm going to select my entire design. I want to make this part 6.75 and see if we fit under the 9.25 range. We certainly do, so we are able to make these a little bit bigger than what they were. I'm going to go ahead and delete the square. We don't need it anymore. Now from here, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can select your entire design and attach them, and that will hold them in place. But I personally like to actually flatten the entire design because that allows Design Space to kind of keep them in place and has less for Design Space to think about when we go to actually cut them out. So from here, all I want to do is hit Make It. You'll see that they've stayed lined up beautifully on our page, and that's exactly the way we want them to cut. Because I'm somebody that loves a good rainbow order, Lord knows I had to put them in rainbow order. Then I'm going to click Continue, and from here, we're going to send it to the printer. Now with this one, I want to make sure that I have my correct printer selected. I'm using an inkjet printer, and I'm using an Epson ET2720. This paper works with inkjet printers, so you just want to make sure that you're aware of that. Now I'm going to leave my bleed on so that it pushes this black edge out just a little bit so that we make sure we get a really good cut. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my system dialog. Using my system dialog is going to allow me to change some cut settings with this. And you're going to want to test these a little bit because every printer is just a little different. But these are the ones that I found works best with my Haze translucent holographic paper. The next thing I'm going to do is click Print. This is going to open up our printer dialog box, which is going to give us more preferences to choose from. You want to choose Preferences, and then you just want to do a few settings. First thing I always do is change my quality from standard, and for these, I find standard vivid works best. I found that high put a little too much ink onto the paper, but standard vivid worked great. Make sure that color is selected. One more setting that you want to go to is under More Options, and you want to turn off High Speed Print. Some of them have bidirectional print instead of high speed, but also if you don't have all these extra features, you didn't install your drivers correctly for your printer, so go to your printer's manufacturer website and find the drivers for your printer and reinstall. From here, all we do is click OK and click Print to send it to our printer. I'll take you over to the machine and show you how to get them cut out. We've had several technical difficulties with our project today. So you're gonna notice, number one, these are different and this little guy is a different color. I used my previously done design because Design Space didn't save my stickers and it's just been a mess. So what I'm gonna do, and everything's gonna be the same regardless of using a different sticker sheet. So what I wanna do is you are going to line this up on your mat. Now you wanna make sure that it faces the same direction on your mat as it does on Design Space, so that when you're looking at it the correct direction that you would load it into your machine, it's facing the same way. Now I cut these on vinyl with more pressure, but you will need to just kind of do some test cuts because it's going to depend on your machine as to which cut setting works best. Now the first thing it's going to do is read our cut lines. The second thing it will do is then cut around our stickers. Honest with you, I've had to cut and recut this thing 1,000 times because every time something went wrong with Cricut. So what I'm going to do before I unload is I'm going to grab my pin pen and I just want to get it under the edge of one of my stickers because I want to make sure that it cut all the way through because I don't trust the Cricut right now at all. Like I wouldn't trust it as far as I could throw it to actually cut my project. It's been very, very difficult today and I just have very little faith in it. I think it did a good job, so we're going to go ahead and go with that. So I'm going to unload this and I'm going to go ahead and slide my machine out of the way. When you remove any project from your mat, I always recommend flipping your mat over and rolling your project off the mat. So roll that mat and the project should come right off. Now the way that I designed this originally, I had squares around it so that it would cut it into like a much more even sheet, but that seemed to be causing me some issues, so I didn't do it this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use some scissors, and I just want to cut it so it looks like a nice sticker sheet instead of like a sheet from a Cricut. So I'm just going to kind of cut the edge here off. Now this may not be 100% straight because, well, Cricut was just giving me issues. But I'm gonna go ahead and just trim off the black edges, and then I'm gonna show you kind of how I do them so that they look, especially when I do these holographic ones, I love to make them look a little bit like more professional. So I just usually have the Cricut cut the square out, and then I can just peel the backing off. But in this case, since the Cricut wanted to be difficult, we're gonna just have to do it by ourselves. And like I said, I can't cut a straight line, so it's probably not even, but that's fine. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna take all the extra backing off before I like give this to somebody. So I'm just gonna peel the extra backing, and it's actually gonna give you a really good look at how your stickers look. Now I use my pin pen to help, especially around some of like the edges by their little antenna, because sometimes those don't wanna come off real well. And especially like by their hands and stuff, you can kind of use your pin pen to help, or between their legs, because there's little spots there if they get a little stuck. Because this sticker paper does rip if you're not real careful with it. So you do want to be kind of gentle. But I'm just using my finger to kind of help it along. And then I just sort of work my finger around. And I just think this gives it a really professional look when you cut your stickers. And it kind of gets rid of all that bleed. If you don't do like a full die cut sticker, you can make your own little sticker sheet. Now, I know you're gonna ask, are these waterproof? And the answer is no. They are water resistant stickers, meaning that you can put them on like a water bottle, but you don't wanna soak them in the water and you don't wanna scrub them. So these are definitely more for like a planner or something like that. Now I'm gonna peel one of them off. Let's peel the purple guy because he's kind of a dark color, because I want you to see what they look like, because they are translucent, meaning that they don't have a white background. So let me get him off. They're not always like super easy to peel, because again, you do need to be really gentle with this paper because it is kind of more of a plastic, and it does like to rip a little bit. So like I said, just be gentle with them. And sometimes it's a little easier if you start like with these thin antennae. And you can kind of see how I'm bending my paper to get to the sticker itself. I just found going from the antenna down worked a lot better. But I wanted to show you because they are transparent. So you can still see the design pretty well, but if you put this on like another clear surface, he's not gonna be as dark as he would be if you put this on to a white surface like he comes off of the paper with. So if you see him a little up close, I don't know how well it's really, let me see if I can get it to focus. You can see, I mean, he's cute, but he's not gonna be quite as colorful. So it's sort of like the same idea of sublimation, where if you put it on a different color, it's gonna pick up that color. So like I said, just keep that in mind when you are placing your sticker down onto something. And these are really sticky. That's one thing I really like about this product. They're super sticky. So you can head over to Hayes Paper, located in the links, to get this adorable holographic paper. It comes in a bunch of different fun patterns. You can see it's really easy to work with. All my issues were the Cricut and Design Space issues. It was nothing to do with the holographic paper at all. This stuff I've used a ton of times and it works really, really well. It's super pretty, super easy to use. So if you guys have any questions, by all means, leave those in the comments down below. Again, you can find links to all of our products that we're using in these videos in the video's description, and you can actually find this design linked in my profile on Cricut Design Space. If you just want to quickly make your own sticker sheet that looks just like this one, you can absolutely do that. Just look for Corinne Blackstone over on Cricut, but I'll link my profile in the description below as well if you'd like to follow me. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting!